Folks, we have breaking news. China's silver price erupts, now a staggering 10.5% above the paper mirage of the COMEX. This is huge. This is a game changer. The revaluation of silver's price is starting to come to light, and Western price suppression is coming to an end. Let's see what is going on. Make sure you stick around. Let's just jump straight into the video. Alright folks, we have some very interesting and pretty exciting news that just came out today, Friday, July 25th, from the Silver Academy, posting this article that says China's silver price erupts, now a staggering 10.5% above the paper mirage of the COMEX. Now they talk about this paper mirage, this facade, because that is how they suppress the price. If there was that much metal for physical delivery, then silver's price would be valued naturally and fairly, but that's not the case whatsoever. And we are starting to see the tables get turned. The LBMA inventories are at record lows. We are seeing people want their silver, the physical silver, because if you can't hold it, you do not own it, folks. I always say that. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. You think you do, but you don't. So let's see what this article has to offer. And folks, listen, you have to be subscribed, not for my sake, for your own. I genuinely mean that, because I'm going to update you on a daily basis of what's happening in the world of silver and why. I don't know of another channel that dives as deep as I do, as consistent on a daily basis, sharing the most important stuff. A lot of stuff I'm the first or even the only one to talk about it or to break the news. I try my best, so make sure you subscribe. And if you wanted to purchase some of this shiny stuff, send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Slayer sent you. We are talking about the most reputable, legit precious metals dealer in America. Andy Schectman is the CEO, in business over 35 years. Not a negative complaint, because yes, if we mess up, which every company does, we make it right. Andy will always make it right, and I can attest for that firsthand. Billionaires buy from us. Andy filled a $55 million order twice. Not many billionaires are going to trust people with their money, but Andy Schectman is that guy, and we have connections where most don't, and that's why we are able to have such a massive variety for the prices that we do. Info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Slayer sent you. And yeah. So with that said, let's jump into this article. Arbitrage frenzy. China and the East are drinking COMEX's milkshake as physically settled markets expose the great Western silver ruse. Other countries are taking advantage of the Western's price suppression, and you should be too. So let's look at this. David Lee commented, silver in China, 42.20 at JD.com, 40.68 at SGE, which is the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and 40.77 at SFE. So we have silver right now at 38.26 on the COMEX, and gold $3,333. The world's of gold, or the two worlds of gold, paper promises versus physical reality. For years, global gold markets have been a tale of two realities. One, an empire of paper contracts swirling through Western financial centers, most notably the US COMEX, or the scammy COMEX, or the company that has a lot of criminals doing illegal, shady stuff behind closed doors that should be sent to prison for life. And the other heavy, immovable truth of actual ounces resting in vaults from Shanghai to Singapore. And remember, keyword, actual ounces from Shanghai to Singapore. But what if everything you thought you knew about price of gold was merely an illusion, a magic trick, orchestrated in dimly lit boardrooms? Why, you have to ask? Do the numbers never seem to add up when the COMEX lights go dark and real buyers in Asia step onto the stage? How did we end up with 363 paper claims for every real ounce? Do you know what that means, folks? That means every ounce of silver that you own, 363 other people actually think, or theoretically think, they own that same ounce, but they do not, because they are not in possession. If you can't hold it, you do not own it. These 363 people right here, they all think they have silver in a vault somewhere. If they all tried to turn those contracts into physical delivery, it would expose that. They wouldn't be able to acquire their own silver. That is how price suppression works. And that's what the Hunt brothers did. They had all these paper contracts on the left, and they turned all of it into physical, which exposed the suppression, the corruption, the manipulation, and that's why on the spot, the government or the feds banned silver. They made a law on the spot banning silver trading on the COMEX called Silver Rule 7, and that is why the Hunt brothers did not acquire all that silver, and that's also why silver got capped at $50, because that was at the top. Banned silver, you couldn't buy it, you had to sell it to the feds, and that is what caused that massive drop down. Hypothetically, silver's price per ounce, if all paper was converted to physical, is $13,975. That is natural pricing. That is supply and demand fundamentals without manipulation. Let's pull back the curtain. For decades, COMEX has stood as a monument to leverage, with stories often subsidiated, and of many of the 350 paper claims stacked precariously atop a single lonely ounce of gold. How did so much faith end up resting on so little metal? And isn't it curious how, like clockwork, the most violent price swings or corrections occur during New York trading hours? When the market is most detached from physical settlement and actual delivery? What happens when the casino closes and only those with chips that can be cashed in for real gold are left standing? They're screwed. When COMEX sleeps, the return of honest price discovery. Is it merely coincidence that when COMEX slips into remission, those quiet off-peak hours, the price of gold in the physical markets, especially in China, begins to inch upwards, almost as if freed from invisible shackles? Why do we see a steadier, more rational quest for price discovery during those times? A march towards fair value that the wild paper markets so often suppress. It's the tortoise and the hare all over again. The slow, relentless bidding for metal in Shanghai on platforms like JD.com or the Shanghai Gold Exchange keeps notching higher premiums over the contrived benchmarks of the West. Who is really setting the price and who is just pretending? China's grand strategy, turning the tables on Western bankers. This is very important. This is probably the most important chapter or section of this article. But what if China isn't just a passive participant in this gold tug of war? What if Beijing understands with absolute clarity the vulnerability at the heart of the Western banking system? They do. A dependence on the illusion of infinite gold rather than the burden of storage and delivery. Because in the Shanghai, you have to actually input, you have to actually deliver your precious metals physically into that if you want a paper contract. The West doesn't have to do that. So could it be that by building robust physical markets and draining bullion from west to east, China is orchestrating its own multi-decade endgame to expose the Achilles heel of American finance? Why do you think the world's largest hoard of gold is making its slow, deliberate journey from leased London vaults to new state-of-the-art facilities in Asia? Then you have JP Morgan and the SLV farce, a fox guarding the henhouse. And then let's address the elephant, or perhaps the fox, in the silver vault. Isn't it breathtaking in its audacity that JP Morgan, the same institution fined $920 million, by the way, for manipulating precious metals, and by the way, 3 of their employees got sent to prison, is entrusted as the custodian of the world's largest silver ETF, SLV? That's what I talked about in a lot of my videos. Why is the most corrupt, shady bank in the world, JP Morgan, which gets sent to prison for spoofing, placing false buy and sell orders on these exchanges and canceling the order before it goes through, manipulating the market for decades, by the way? They are at the head of the COMEX, the largest silver ETF, which is the SLV. How can we honestly pretend this arrangement isn't but farcical, a fox guarding the henhouse? while the rest of us are told everything is above board. When you see such blatant conflicts of interest at the heart of Western custodianship, do you wonder how much of the ETF really sits in physical metal and how much is just another paper promise waiting to unravel? The slow march to physical supremacy. Can the East force a reckoning? Every time the US COMEX resumes its feverish high volume trading, you can almost hear the echo of suppressed outrage. Why is true price discovery being denied? And every time the global gold price breathes again outside New York hours, you see a glimpse of what a free market could become, a patient, steady march towards actual value, driven not by leverage or algorithms, but by the elemental desire to possess real, unencumbered metal. How much longer will the facade hold now that the East seems determined to call the West's bluff? And in my video yesterday, it was a video talking about silver skyrocketing to triple digits. And I kept mentioning this. And by the way, the article is talking about silver exploding very soon. Now, I'm not someone who's going to say silver is going to explode tomorrow, not next week either. We can actually pull up that article. The case for $100 silver in investigative analysis. This is the article I made a video about yesterday. And here's the point. The last week to pick up silver under $40. Anyone want to bet me? He's saying this is the last week to get silver under 40. Now, the whole point of me saying what I did, which was I'm not going to sit here and say silver is going to explode tomorrow or next week or even next month. But I don't know, because the only thing holding it back is the article we just talked about, the COMEX, suppressing the price. So it all comes down to this. When does the COMEX collapse? Ted Butler dedicated his entire life to researching this. Butler Research. He passed away last year, rest in peace. He went over the ins and the outs, the ups, the downs, the insides, the outsides of the illegal activity that's going on inside the COMEX. But his whole point was that this facade will not be able to hold up forever. And when it doesn't, silver's going to explode. And I can confidently say that when the COMEX collapses and true price discovery is here, we have no idea how high silver could go. And I mean that genuinely. We could be talking thousands of dollars. How could you price silver to a dollar's value where the dollar has been depreciated over since the beginning of it, and it's lost 98% of its purchasing power, with this metal being completely detached in a valuable way that is needed as we are running out of it? I mean, you can't put a number to that. So, with that said, who knows? But that was the whole point of the video yesterday, and that kind of goes into what's happening right now. See, that's the whole thing, is what the reason I'm saying silver's not about to explode is actually a little hypocritical, because the thing that's going to make silver explode is actually happening right now as we speak. So it's more possible than ever, especially with silver sitting at 14-year highs. So anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this video up here. This is a big video. This is big news. Share this, like the video, leave a comment, watch till the end. That helps. Audience retention time is very important. Watch it again, whatever. It really does help. I really want this information to get out to every silver stacker. It's not for my sake, it's for your own and for everyone else. And if you wanted to purchase, send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Slayer sent you. That helps me out. That's not going to raise the price or anything. The commission just goes to me instead of the company as a whole. And I appreciate it. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Veterans, stick around. I got an announcement for you right after this. And yeah, I will see you guys probably later today. There's just so much information. One video a day is not cutting it right now. And that's only when need be. I'm not just making random videos every day, multiple, just to do it. it's when the information is actually there that I need to be posting multiple videos. I'll never just do that just because. So make sure you stick around. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys later today. Peace. Folks, I'm so excited to announce that I've partnered with American medical experts whose purpose is helping veterans get the medical benefits that they truly deserve. Over 17 million veterans aren't receiving their full benefits, and if this is you or someone you know, then act now. American medical experts are offering free consultations through our med team to see how we can help. The med team offers board-certified doctors who have experience working with the VA, comprehensive medical evidence for services like mental health as well. Some of these include your Nexus letter, your DBQs, your TDIUs, your AAs, and more. I want to personally thank American medical experts for helping veterans, but also giving me an opportunity to help veterans as well. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment to get a free consultation through our med team. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.